Just spotted a pretty interesting move on the 6-hour Bitcoin chart, zoomed in, of course, and also on the Bitcoin daily. A glimmer of potential hope for the Bitcoin bulls, for the hopium enthusiasts. I want to talk about what I'm spotting on the daily chart in terms of Bitcoin indicators, and then ADA. I want to pivot to ADA at the second half of this video and discuss the resistance area, but also why in yesterday's video that I did, I'm a little unhappy with the video because I left an incredibly important part out, kind of a mystery move in terms of Cardano, and I want to discuss and break that down. So hit the subscribe, hit the like. I'm going to make this short, simple, and let's just jump right into it. The first thing I want to do is go to the 6-hour, the zoomed in. The first thing that I was spotting, and it kind of caused me to want to do this video, is just this potential consolidation. Well, it's not potential consolidation, it's consolidation, but a potential inverse head and shoulders on this chart right here with this upper trend line resistance, right? So two things here. Number one, the breakout target up kind of around $31,000. That's important because when we start zooming out on this 6-hour chart, that red line, that's that key area of resistance that we've spotted probably, last week, maybe even the week before, but kind of this area back here, the consolidation that Bitcoin saw on the way down in May, acting kind of as this resistance. A break through that area would be very meaningful. That could be what's setting up here on the 6-hour. I want to note something though. We've had bullish setups and formations in this upward consolidation, namely the last swing high back here where Bitcoin fell. We kind of had an ascending triangle setting up, and Bitcoin actually fell and hit a target to the downside. So just because we have a potential bullish consolidation doesn't mean we're getting the breakout. We have to monitor closely. But the hope kind of comes in for the bulls is right here on the daily chart. The similarities are there. If we just glance at the chart, it's like a swing high and a consolidation, swing high, consolidation. We're in a swing high. It's smart and wise, I would think, to anticipate consolidation, even if it's a higher low, 50-day moving average support down here around 24,500. We know these things are in play. This upper trend line of the rising channel Bitcoin broke out of, that's in play. It's around 27,000, I think a 5-6% dip, the 20-day moving average there. We know downside is in play. But what's that glimmer of bullish hope? Well, if you're looking at this chart, there's one thing that's different in this move that's happening here compared to this move and this move. So, and we can remove this sell button. If we open up the momentum oscillators, here's what I spotted. Now, if we look at it, I want to just note the quicker moving momentum oscillator. That is this oscillator right here, the stock RSI. Notice where it is. It's bouncing out of oversold, right? So we've come from overbought to oversold, and it's bouncing out right now. That's notable because when we start opening up the charts and we look at those previous consolidations back here, right? So here's that last swing high. This was towards the end of February. Bitcoin was kind of in that overbought area before it fell, right? And then back here, same type of deal, right? We're putting in these these higher highs on the Bitcoin chart, and then it fell. And it actually did not bounce out of that fall until we saw the stock RSI start cruising to the upside. Well, the thing is, Bitcoin price actually never really fell, and it's starting to cruise to the upside, right? So we've gotten this consolidation on the quicker moving momentum oscillator. The momentum of Bitcoin has cooled off, that is to say, oversold, and we're coming out of that area. The other thing, just to take notice of, if you zoom out, it's not a perfect indicator. It doesn't mean Bitcoin's about to blast off because we're coming out of oversold. But if you look back and you look at each time Bitcoin actually kind of did start reversing out of oversold, most times, if you just take a brief look, Bitcoin was either putting in a low and really not going much lower, right? Or getting ready to go higher. There was a time that Bitcoin kind of potentially made a similar move to what's happening right now, and that was back here in October. You can see Bitcoin kind of coming out of oversold and dipping back down, and it did make a push to the upside, but then it fell, right? So it's not a perfect indicator to say every time it's coming out of oversold, Bitcoin's going to blast off. But historically, coming out of oversold on this daily stock RSI is an indicator to be useful or to use, and I think that could be useful, even if it is just saying Bitcoin's not going to break out, but Bitcoin's going to just kind of trade sideways, even down to this upper trend line, 27,000, meaning we're not going to get a huge fall like we got back here. So I just wanted to note that we know where the downside is. We know where that 50-day moving average is. That's an incredibly important area for me on these charts. If Bitcoin is to fall, who knows how the markets are going to open this week. But that 50-day moving average right down around 24 to 25 or 24.5 to $25,000. So that'll be an area to watch if Bitcoin really does start falling. But the breakout target to the upside right now out of this consolidation that Bitcoin's in, if it can break out, who knows, is that $31,000 area. So I want to pivot to Cardano because I did a lot of TA in yesterday's ADA video, and I think it really summed up a lot of what's going on in the charts, especially the fact that it's at resistance. It has not escaped the grasp that the resistance has on ADA. Hasn't escaped, but we've discussed the breakout targets to the upside. We had kind of a couple 60-cent targets to the upside. We know we have the inverse head and shoulders on this ADA chart. We're at the neckline resistance. The right shoulder is in play. Did not get that breakout, right, to the upside. Even if it's a small breakout, back down, 60-cent target in play. And then we have the falling wedge in play with also the 60-cent target. This is a longer-term thing. We got the breakout out of this wedge in January. So we're seeing a lot of consolidation out after the breakout, which is normal, and Cardano's just still in that move. What I want to talk about, the mystery move, the thing I left out, kind of stems from a consolidation pattern that ADA is in right now. I just got this tweet from Jacob. He said, Dan, is the rising channel on ADA's daily worth charting? And the answer is yes. And I said, rising channels scare me. Haha, but yes, it probably is worth charting, and it is worth charting. And it really plays into the story of why I'm disappointed in my video yesterday, because I didn't talk about potential downside for ADA. And let's just go look at here's a rising channel on the daily chart. This is what it looks like. The first thing to note is out of any pattern or any setup, there's targets. There's one to the upside, one to the downside. Target to the upside, 52 cents. Target to the downside, right around 30, just under 30 cents. Now, the thing is, if it broke to the upside, that 52-cent target is a shorter term target, and it plays into the story of ADA breaking out of this neckline of the head and shoulders and potentially seeing resistance and kind of coming back down. But it plays into the larger targets of those larger patterns we've been discussing. But the other thing it plays into is this, the thing I forgot to discuss in yesterday's video. It's simply not if ADA hits resistance now, because it's at resistance still. It is at huge resistance. But what happens when it does hit the resistance? I didn't talk about downside. I didn't talk about where's support. What should we look for, really? And this is the thing. We have a really nice set of structure for ADA right now. Upper trend line, lower trend line, higher highs and higher lows. The lower trend line, if you look at what's right there, the confluence right here of support, 20-day, 200-day, 50-day, all right there in that 35, 36 cent range. So if ADA were to just fail at the exact resistance that it's at, and I'm talking 39, 40 cent range, and it could definitely consolidate all the way back down to those moving averages to test those moving averages. And not only that, it could test the lower trend line. So we're talking about a 10% move or so for ADA to the downside. Doesn't have to be overnight, doesn't have to be quick. It could just trickle down to that area and just meet these moving averages somewhere. So that's in play for ADA. But then the question is, what happens? Is there support down in that vicinity if it happens? This doesn't mean ADA can't just break to the upside or start trending up and break out. It could. This is what we're monitoring. But I think that bit of structure there that Jacob alluded to, I think is really helpful, because what we've been mainly discussing is just the fact that we have the swing high back here in November to the big swing low, and we've been just talking about this resistance channel, the green channel that ADA is stuck at, right in that 786 area around 39.40 cents. And ADA right there, once again, stuck there. And we do have this upper trend line very confluent with the resistance that ADA is at right now. So I like that rising channel right now, because it really does tie the charts together. And that's what I think makes it easy for me, just personally, right? I like structure. I like to just locate areas on the charts to anticipate whether it's a breakout to the upside or a fall to the downside, so I can monitor what happens when that's happening, right? And is there bullish confirmation of support? Is there a really nice wick coming out of that area? That's what I like to watch for. So this is just how I see the charts, everybody. Once again, let me know what you think about Bitcoin, Cardano, what the week it has in store for us that lies ahead. And hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I appreciate you watching. If you're watching this weekend, hit that like button on your way out. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.